Welcome to the Generative Edge, the podcast that keeps you up to date with the latest news and events in the world of generative AI. I'm Stephanie, and I'm a consultant at Deloitte Central Europe.
I'm Brendan. I'm the Natural Language Processing and Generative AI Practice Lead at Deloitte Central Europe.
And we are so excited to be joined by a very special guest, Peter Adams. Peter is a learning and development expert with more than a decade of experience at companies like Apple and Cvent. At ChurnZero, the company where he works now, he is the manager of Customer Enablement, overseeing customer education and community platforms. He has received accolades such as the 2024 Top 100 Customer Success Thought Leader, wow, my goodness, Strategist Award, the 2023 SkillJar Golden Skillet People's Choice Award,
Ooh.
and has partnered with LinkedIn Learning to offer a Customer Success Foundation's professional certificate. My goodness, Peter, we are so happy to have you on the podcast today. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks so much. I'm really happy to be here. And wow, what an introduction. Someone's done some research.
I was going to say, we do our due diligence on this podcast, 100%. But thank you.
That was great. I'm humble.
Thank you so much for being here. So we have a lot that we want to talk to you about today, but maybe let's just start at the beginning here. So tell us a little bit about ChurnZero and your role as the manager of customer enablement.
I would love to. So ChurnZero is an awesome tool that I kind of fell into about 4 years ago. So ChurnZero, it is the primary operating system for customer success teams. And you're probably wondering, well, WTF does that mean?
What does that mean?
Right? What does that mean?
Yeah.
So think about it, right? We have individuals who are overseeing customer relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And their primary objective is to ensure that your customers are getting value out of your product and that they're going to renew with you, because we want to have a consistent and predictable renewal cycle with every one of our customers.
Mm-hmm.
That's how our finance teams know that we are making money and we are secure. We can get, buy-in from investors and things like that. So it's really important that these customer-facing individuals have rich data at their fingertips and they can be really effective in the conversations that they're having, and that they're not bogged down by like mundane administrative tasks. And so that's really what ChurnZero is doing. It's taking data that you might have in your CRM, like Salesforce or HubSpot, and other systems that might be really relevant, like, oh, a customer's upset with something or they're having difficulty with the product, so they submit a support ticket.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the person managing the relationship and I don't know that they have a support issue and it's getting escalated, like, I'm out of context. And if I'm responsible for this relationship, I need that context. And so that's really what ChurnZero is providing these customer-facing team members.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving them the rich data from all types of systems. It's eliminating the time that they have to take investigating who their customer is, their behaviors within the product, and help them really predict the health of the customer and their likelihood to renew. I mean, it's ChurnZero. The idea is zero to hero. We want zero churn. And so our customers, we like to call them our churn heroes.
And your role then?
My role. My role.
Yeah.
That's important. So like Stephanie said, thank you for that intro. I oversee our learning management system. It's where we provide all of our educational training content. And so that's going to be through video or interactive modules where we've developed authored courses through a SCORM file type. And I also oversee our community platform. And that's an exclusive space where our customers can connect with each other, talk about things that they want to solve or get feedback on and collaborate, because we serve a global customer base, and we have over, I think the last time I checked, about 20 or more unique industries. And so for our users, giving them the ability to actually connect and collaborate with each other, it makes the product even more relevant because they can find individuals from similar industries or maybe similar role types who are trying to address, operational deficiencies or trying to scale part of their business within the customer success realm.
Mm.
So it's really great to be able to oversee these platforms. It is challenging. It's me and I have one other, my instructional design producer,
Cool.
Anna. She manages our production process for new content and existing. And so we're busy, but we always
Sounds
have
like
fun.
it.
And so I think what's important for us is, what's important for me is I want to make sure that we can continue to be effective on a slimmer team, knowing that we consistently service our product. It gets updates weekly. And so it's important that my training material and the things that we're doing within the community reflect the progress and scale of our product as well.
Okay, that might be the perfect tie-in for talking about AI, I suppose. So when you talk about efficiency and being able to churn out a lot of productive work with not a lot of resources, do you use AI in general in your job, or were you using it before generative AI was a thing? And how do you use generative AI now? Is this something that you rely on in order to increase productivity, or is it something that is just new? If you want to walk us through some of that.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Let me just enter that into ChatGPT so I can get answered. No, that's great. So AI has been, I think, really important, not just for ChurnZero. I mean, we were the first customer success platform in our industry to go to market with an AI tool,
Oh,
Customer
wow.
Success AI.
Mm.
And that's important because we really aim to enhance our users' ability to be efficient and effective. So that's been a big game changer. And that's kind of where I started with AI, just using our own AI tool.
Mm-hmm.
We've expanded to other AI tools where we're actually now doing, it's called an AI snapshot. This was just recently released. And that's summarizing all the account data into essentially like a one pager that can
Mm-hmm.
be across different department leaders who may not even be using ChurnZero.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of the introduction. But what I've been doing is AI has been so helpful for me because it is expediting so much work. It's not replacing work, but it's expediting it.
Right.
So, I'm using AI. Oh, God, so many different ways. Let me think. One, for example, when we think about the role of an instructional designer, right? We create a massive amount of content.
Mm-hmm.
Creating content, I mean, being creative is challenging. That's taxing. That you have to
Yeah.
have brain energy for that.
Yeah.
So we might not always have the time to do a full research study on a specific topic, or I might not have time to do user interviews so I can understand use cases. But what I am able to do is ask AI to help generate script materials or generate life-like scenarios for a specific use case.
Oh,
And I can
interesting.
take this material and then go to a subject matter expert, have them review it, give them that starting place
Mm-hmm.
so that they can help me improve it and personalize it.
Gotcha. When you say creating scenarios, is that like creating, descriptions of potential customers
Like
or
role plays,
role play,
like
that kind of thing?
Yes, it is definitely like it could be role plays, it could be a day in the life experience, like, oh, how do you just start your day? How do you
Mm-hmm.
organize your day? I think other things that are interesting, not just for like developing the script itself, but we're also diving into voiceover AI.
Mm-hmm.
oh,
We used to
cool.
do all of our content creation where I would record the narrative, and and that takes a lot of time. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you guys as podcasters understand the time
Amount
it
of time
takes to
going into
actually
scripting.
view it and professionally
What?
edit.
Stephanie, our
It doesn't take
wizard.
so much time and energy. What are you talking? No, please, my God.
Right? Well, now they've got tools out there where, we could take this recording and AI could just cut it up for us,
Yeah.
right? And say,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Oh,
here are the
we love our
highlights that we think
producers,
you have.
though.
Right, for sure. Making
So,
their
like,
job
for
easier, but
me,
not,
I'm not necessarily
replacing
doing
them.
that. Yeah, right? Like, I'm not necessarily using it for that.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like the scripting itself,
Hmm.
because I'm using a AI voiceover, I really dislike AI voiceover. And
Mm-hmm.
it is something that I am leaning into heavily because it is a need. I
Yeah.
need to create time for Anna and I to be creative so that we can be innovative.
Yeah.
And I'll take the scripts that we write, and because I don't want it to sound like a computer,
Yeah.
I'm asking AI to rewrite the script specifically for voice over AI tools
Oh.
where it is now changing the phonetics and helping the new AI voiceover tool understand pronunciation, articulation, pauses, breaths,
Mm-hmm.
things like
That's
that,
impressive.
Oh, wow.
where now I don't have to go and take like a LinkedIn learning course on how to write for voice over AI. No,
Right.
ChatGPT was great. It was great. And the result, I was really impressed.
Is this something that
And
you
so
learned by like experimenting with it, or did you read a guide somewhere and then decided to try it out yourself?
I am not buying prompt books. Do not buy
No.
prompt books.
Wait, do prompt books actually exist? Please tell
Oh,
me that's not a thing.
Oh my gosh, it is like a whole sub-industry of influencers.
Oh
No, I got
no.
into, I know, no,
Okay,
no,
we should spend
Brent.
some time on another episode talking about prompt books. I am fascinated by
I was gonna say
this.
you've hit a very particular
Honestly,
point.
I think it's like a pyramid scheme. It's like, let's get cash quick. Buy my 10 prompts for $10. Like, no,
Oh,
You'd be
oh,
lucky if they're
there's so much
$10.
information out there we
right.
don't need.
Gotcha.
No,
Wow.
I got into AI purely through one, our product, but then experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing our product team is really developing the next roadmap on AI.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that I stay ahead and in the know.
Mm-hmm.
AI is not going to replace people. It's become part of our lives, and it's something that we should be embracing. Now, do I embrace AI in every aspect of my life? No. Has
Mm-hmm.
it helped me learn how to cook a really delicious meal with the leftovers that I have in my fridge? Absolutely.
It's a very
Yeah.
But
undervalued use case for
um,
Gen AI.
yeah, no, I got
Right.
into it through experimentation, honestly. And
Mm-hmm.
what I've done is I use Instagram for learning. I don't post.
Mm,
I don't use it for social.
Mm-hmm.
So I've programmed Instagram's algorithm to surface things that are interesting to me, such as AI. And
Mm.
so that's really where I'm getting
that's
a lot of
clever.
tips like, oh, add this to your prompt. Or have you ever created a prompt expert where you actually ask AI to improve the prompts that you want to use for AI?
Oh,
That was really cool.
it's AI all the way down.
All the way.
AI all the way down. Fortunately, Arnold Schwarzenegger is not the voice of AI,
Oh,
so you
right.
don't have to worry about
Uh,
price the machine.
get the
Oh
Terminator
my
in here.
gosh. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask because like obviously it seems like okay, you work in learning and development. So obviously you have a curious mind. You just mentioned that you use your Instagram not for social posting, but literally for like educating yourself on these things. What is that like from like the team leader perspective? Because you said you have a team, even if it's a small but mighty team. So how are you thinking about kind of like what is the average day with Gen AI? Like we've hinted at this a little bit on the podcast before, but the main focus of a lot of our episodes so far have been like the business value case. So like what is
Mm,
ChurnZero doing with generative AI?
Mm.
And I'm sure it's doing tons of great things as you mentioned, especially to like help your customers' lives and their work lives, all these great things that we talk about. But I'm really curious because you've mentioned that like you have this passion for it generally. And so what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Like how are you, so you mentioned scripting, you mentioned like all these great things.
Mm.
Like how is it helping you as a leader to streamline your day and things like this? Like if you can touch on that.
absolutely. So, Anne and I, we talk about AI a lot. I think Anna's getting on the bandwagon with me.
We love it. We love
I
it.
also appreciate like one thing I appreciate most about Anna is her contrarian perspective and how
Hmm.
we will go to battle on our own soapboxes. But what's fun is when we battle on these soapboxes, we're battling for the same goals. So, we challenge each other with if we're looking at AI tools, because we have been exploring AI tools that you can invest in and purchase to help us with more content creation. But we're always looking at it skeptically.
Hmm.
And we want to, before we invest anything in an AI tool, what's important to me is the security of it. Security is really paramount. It's like one of ChurnZero's number one
For
pillars.
sure.
But then two, not just security in data, but security in the confidence that this is a tool that will continue to scale in and of itself.
Hmm.
Because we know AI is transforming every single day. I mean, what did NVIDIA just do? They just launched a brand new microchip, a brand new AI chip that people are really jazzed about. The other
Blackwell, I
ways in which
think.
we use
It's one of
AI.
them. Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? I didn't catch that.
Oh, sorry. Blackwell is the name of one of the chips that they.
Oh, yeah, the
Anyway, yeah.
Blackbot. Yeah.
More nerd fodder, but it's for later.
Yes, we will dive into that
Yeah.
later. But I think for me, AI has really been like a companion for me.
Hmm.
So it's something that I'm checking every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not asking it to do my job, but I'm really asking more for strategic insights or analysis, or how do I ensure consistency in processes?
Hmm.
One example is Anna and I are revamping our production process.
Oh, wow.
We've been mind readers with each other for years, and I'm like, our team is going to be scaling. It's really important that we document our process, especially for someone new coming in. And so while I have an idea of what our process is and I can document it, are we following like Scrum best practices?
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with Scrum. So I go and ask AI, like, what are Scrum best practices? That's something that's going to help with project management. And so I'm taking those pieces of knowledge and then I'm applying that within the things that I'm doing every day. So this way, it's expediting my research. Is it giving me a complete research study? Is it making sure, like, does it know that I've now memorized this and know it by heart? Absolutely not. But I know that if I want to learn more about Scrum and more of the details of it, great. I have my base, and now I can go take a LinkedIn Learning course on Scrum,
Hmm.
right?
Mm.
So it's about the expediency, understanding what it's giving me, but then really applying it to what we do in our true lives as humans.
Mm.
Yeah. I feel like this is something that, like, especially folks who are getting curious about generative AI and how to use it, ChatGPT, all these great products that are out there. This is kind of like the first toe dip, right? Is really like, what can
Mhm.
it do for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is totally normal, right? Because like if you don't feel comfortable with the product, you're not going to be able to quote unquote sell it to others on your team, to other people in your business. And then, that's where us as consultants come in, that we're like, oh, we can help you build that, So this
Mhm.
is I mean, okay, I also have a background in L&D, so I'm going to go there. This is kind of the growth mindset aspect of this, right? That you really
Yeah.
have to be curious. You want to learn about these things. Like, again, is AI coming from your job? Probably not. But
Mm.
at the same time, like you said, it is more of like a assistant co-pilot type vibe that you just are like, you know what? I'm really great at my job, but of course it would be nice to have an assistant to like take care of some of this other stuff for
Mm-hmm.
me. And so you mentioned like the first iteration, the blank page thing, like this is all stuff that I feel like anyone who's curious about generative AI and
Mm-hmm.
what it can do, that's like one of the best go-to use cases that like it's just going to help you get started with whatever your task is. I can't tell you enough. When I'm staring at a blank page, my whole brain shuts down and I'm just like, oh my God, how am I supposed to start? Like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, especially I'm a neurodivergent. Okay, so I've
mm-hmm.
got ADHD. I was diagnosed 2 years ago, and thank God Dr. John told me, he's like, I think you're ADHD, Peter. And so that diagnosis was fantastic. But I also think for those individuals who are neurodivergent, AI is fantastic because one of the things that's difficult is for neurodivergent individuals making executive decisions is a challenge.
Yeah.
We can see the solution. We can literally map out every single step. If you say, how do you solve this, Steph? And you're like, no problem, I got this. Boom, 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 boom. You've got the list. You are ready to go. And as soon as you want to put your fingers on the keyboard to type it out on that blank page, the
I was
brain is
gonna
like,
should
nope. And it's the most frustrating thing ever sometimes.
It's so funny to listen
But
to you guys talk about this because, I'm coming from a very different angle. I use
Yes.
generative AI in like a software developer way, but we share this in common because I will start a blank page and I'm like, I do not know what to do. So sometimes what I'll literally do is just like turn my microphone on my computer on, rant about everything that I know about a particular topic, and then just say like, I need this to be structured, and then use a generative model to sort of like restructure that into something that I can work with. So it's kind of funny because yeah, two different worlds, but we're doing almost exactly the same
Yeah.
process with the same models, which I find pretty cool.
I love that. And I am stealing that tip and I'm going to practice that today.
Yeah, for sure. Do it. It's
100%.
super useful.
Literally, that sounds brilliant. Oh my
It's
God, I
like,
love
give
it.
me outlines right now.
Yes. But
Right. And you know what's interesting is when I first started using AI, oh man, I was asking the questions like, write this email professionally,
mhm.
or
Mm.
replace the lyrics in Rebecca Black's song Friday, but make it customer success.
Oh
You
no.
know,
Yes.
because I just didn't know what to ask. It
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
new technology,
Hmm,
but
hmm.
it has grown so quickly.
Yeah.
And what I found is as I've used it and as I've been the programming my own algorithm to inform me of what is possible,
Hmm,
I'm getting more creative with it. One thing that
hmm.
I have done is, I want to grow as a professional and I want to continue to elevate how I am as a leader, how I am presenting myself, and even presenting data. And I love data. But sometimes articulating a data story is really hard.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so we can ask AI, hey, extrapolate data from this report. Great, it can tell you what those results are.
Mm.
But what if I took it to the next level and said, all right, create the data story for me of your extrapolation for an audience of mid-level to executive leaders
Mm.
and help me tell a story that at each of these different role levels, they'll have something that they can tie back to.
Right.
And that's how we go from that basic of, ooh, how do I understand this data to how do I actually communicate it to
Mm-hmm.
this audience? And then you get a draft, and guess what? You take that draft and you personalize it.
I think it's also important to note here that still the communication part is being done by a person, right? It's
Yes.
just that the sort of stylistic referencing and the rewriting and the structuring of the message and
Mhm.
some of the creative work is being offset by a generative model, but still we have like the person who's driving that model to do something, who's prompting it, and then actually delivering the communication. Because we can't expect AI to do everything. One of them being like give information, communicate it effectively to people, because we're more
Right.
likely to, accept messages from people with an actual,
Not their avatars.
personality.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny because like the only way that we're able, like what benefits us as humans is that we have the ability to create rapport.
Yeah.
Mm,
And rapport is really critical in
Mm-hmm.
having strong relationships. You need to understand, like each one of my executives, they have a different way of communicating. They
Mm-hmm.
have different personalities. AI is not going to be able to meet and match their personalities the way that I can because of my human experience with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But AI is going to help me understand how to articulate what I'm trying to achieve at the level that I want to reach.
wow. I was going to say that is actually a very powerful note to end on. So, Peter, I just want to thank you so much for being here for this conversation. As I said before, I really feel like this is a unique perspective, right? That it's a practical perspective, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
of how folks, like regular folks, right, can get started with
Mhm.
generative AI. They can find ways to use it to help them in their work days with their teams, and then to essentially become champions. Like it sounds like to me that you are also kind of evangelizing generative AI in your workspace then, because like you obviously can prove success with it. So then you translate that to other folks, and then all of a sudden you have a very cool culture of
Mm-hmm.
folks.
And without the need of developing like a totally new set of tools or something, or like web
Yeah.
apps or
Or
something,
a
it
new
just
prompt hook.
right, exactly, a prompt. Oh my goodness.
I was gonna say we
Right.
definitely.
And I would recommend for anyone who hasn't, really dipped their toe into Gen AI, just get started.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm,
and set the expectation for yourself that when you first start, it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
And it might not work the way that you think it is or should, right? But the shoulda, coulda, wouldas don't matter. What
Yeah.
matters is the practice. And
Mhm.
so by continually practicing with it, I think that's what makes it a good partner. Because I think as lifelong learners, the more we learn, the more we apply what we've learned, the better things and the better
Right, right.
results.
Okay, love that call to action, Peter. I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Of
This was
course.
so great.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and generate responsibly, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Generative Edge, a Deloitte Central Europe and AWS production. Your hosts are Brandon Eichner, Vyasaraj Kulkarni, and Donovan Spronk. Our show is executive produced by Stephanie Cohen, Vanch Luthra, Ian Masters, and the Deloitte studio in Prague. Head writers are Stephanie Cohen and Brandon Eichner. Our sound and audio engineer is Wojtek Krasa, who also serves as our editor and videographer. Michal Trusina is our graphic designer. Our marketing and social media managed by Stephanie Cohen and the Deloitte studio in Prague. And our theme song was written and produced by Jakub Flaszek. Don't forget to rate and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in.